Hello, everybody. Hello. I hope that you're all doing well and that you're all having a blessed day so far. My name is Gloria Kaimbe and I welcome you to my channel. If this is your first time, you are welcome. So, today I'd like to speak to you about the documentation process in South Africa, and especially now that I have children, what are the things that we go through as foreigners in South Africa. So if this is the kind of video you're really interested in, please stick around and find out more. But before I could really get into the video, I'd like to encourage you from the book of Psalm 46 verse 1 that says, God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. Well, I don't know what you are going through right now while watching this. I just want to remind you that God is your refuge. You can always go to God, whatever that you have, whatever that you are going through right now, God is your refuge. You run into his arms, and when you are weak, he will be your strength and is indeed an ever-present help in trouble. This is something that I've experienced over and over again. And whenever I feel like I'm losing my way, or wherever I feel like I'm walking in doubt, scriptures like this remind me once again that God is my refuge. I cannot stop stressing about that. So be encouraged, run into God, and He won't let you down. All right, let's now go into the video of the day. Well, I would say I don't want to make this video very long, but I just want to sum it up. It is very important if you live in a foreign country for you to be documented. I don't believe in people that want to live in a foreign country without documentation. And yeah, without documentation, like what are you doing? You know, when you go in somebody's house, you must adhere to the rules of the person's house. And if you want to benefit from that house, or if you want to have a good treatment in that house, you need to adhere to the rules of the house. And that is how it is also in South Africa. You cannot be in South Africa or whatever country that you migrated into from your birth country and you want to act anyhow. I'm very much against that. And those are the kind of beliefs that I grew up with. My father made sure that we adhered to the rules. You cannot come into a foreign land and want to be a criminal. Like my friend, you could not do it in your own country and you want to come and do it elsewhere. And then another thing that I like to point out is that it was very easy for people to be documented when back in the days than it is in the recent days. Most people, I can tell you guys, most people, South Africa was not their last bus stop. Like they just ended up here for some reason, due to one reason to another. It is like they cannot really get out. So yeah, so many people are stuck here, and it is not just easy. Like sometimes I get comments where people will say, if you don't like it here, just get and leave. It is not so easy, because once you have left a certain thing, like you have left everything behind going somewhere, and then along the way you get stuck because of one reason or the other, it is not just easy for you to pack up your bags and leave. And for people like me who have grown up here as well, it is not just easy for me to say I'm gonna pack up and leave. My father and mother cannot say they can just pack up their stuff and leave, because all the things that they had back home, like in terms of property, in terms of businesses, most of those things have been sold. And you know, when you're not around to take care of your own things, certain things like if you're not around to take care of your own business, of your own stuff, certain people who are back home will take that as an advantage to enrich themselves, because in their mind, wherever you have gone to, you have already made it. The fact that you left the country, they don't think about the struggles, about the challenges that you have to go through in order for you to settle, or in order for you to survive in the country of wherever you are at that particular time. So yes, documentation was very easy well, I won't say it was, but it was very easy for you to get should you come to South Africa based on one reason to another. Like, so let us now go back to papers. You could come and tell your story, this is what my story is, and they will give you documentation. They will give you what you call an asylum seeker. And I remember when we arrived in South Africa, when they will give you an asylum seeker, is to allow you to study and to work, and also to get health treatment in the country. So we would get those. It's an A4 paper, guys. Yeah. It's like it's like a whole book, like it's a whole A4 page that you need to have that shows that you are legal in the country of South Africa. However, it falls under, I think it's section 24, I can't remember, but yeah, it's like it says that you're a refugee, or what, or in other words known as an asylum seeker in South Africa. And once you have the asylum seeker, well, you will go from the well, the asylum seeker laws, like in say a year or two, depending on, because laws change all the time, guys. Laws against foreigners in this country change all the time. You cannot come today and say it is like this. When you come after 2 years, it becomes like that. And I also don't blame the South African government, because some people, some of my brothers and sisters also get up to no good. So the country looks for ways they can adjust here and there. So, and also with the difficulty of people getting papers nowadays, it's also because our country, yeah, my country is showing it, is giving the image to the world that yeah, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are achieving this, we are achieving that. Whereas when you go home, like when I went home, I was like, what are the things that they are telling us to come back home for? Because it's like, should our country become better, guys, in a heartbeat, there are a lot of Congolese that are already going home because like difficulty in papers and what's so on. And also they just can't, they are struggling with the lifestyle in South Africa. So when I say in terms of lifestyle, yeah, work lifestyle, well, it's not easy. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. And so many of my friends and family have already packed their bags and left. So it's not for the faint-hearted. So yes, what our government is calling us back home for is not really there. The asylum seeker documentation allows you to live a normal life to a certain degree, or whereas you have certain privileges or certain advantages as the inhabitants of South Africa. There are certain things that are restricted only for South Africans. So after getting the asylum seeker for a couple of years, back in the days, it was very easy. After 7-8 years, you could apply for what you call this standing committee letter. If you still see that, okay, I've settled in this country, I have bought assets in this country. Once you have the standing committee letter, now you can go and apply. You can go through a process called VFS. Once you go to VFS, you have to pay, like it's an agency, you have to pay an admission fee, and which is currently, it is 1,350. I'm not sure if it has gone up, because I think that's how much I paid the last time for my son. Was it 2,000? Oh no, it has actually gone up. I paid 2,500 rand for my baby boy. Yeah. I remember for my husband, who did not apply with the asylum seeker like me, he was not eligible for the asylum seeker. He applied as a critical skilled person. So South Africa saw that, okay, this guy has critical skills, hence we can use him further. His documentation, well, his application only lasted 3 months. So after 3 months, he got his permanent residence, glory be to God, and then he can go. And then in my case, I had to wait for another 2 years or 3 years before I got mine. And I got mine because my husband already had asylum. Well, he already had permanent residency and an IED at the time. So after getting your permanent residency, now you are eligible for the South African barcoded ID. However, while you are an asylum seeker, if you have been an asylum seeker for a very long time, you will get to a point where it's no longer a normal asylum seeker documentation. You have what you call the status, refugee status. And when you have the refugee status, you can also apply for a refugee ID. It is a red ID that we use. However, that red ID also, just because it is a 10 barcoded ID, it does not necessarily mean that it is it is going to allow you to have access to everything. Of course, you can punch it here and there, but there is still that one code or that one number that shows that you are not a South African resident or a South African citizen. So that is a process that I had to go through. So I applied for my ID, which did not take so well. It took up to 8 months or 10 months or so, and then I got my ID, my green barcoded ID. So yeah, like I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. It all depends with what your motives, what your plans are for the future. And like for me, I got it well, once I got my ID, the first thing that I have in mind is that I gotta have a passport. And that is the reason why I went ahead, got a passport, and got to travel. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see what is out there. I wanted to see my home country again. And recently I tried to use the same documentation to travel to Botswana, but I had an issue. But anyway, to go back to that, so these are the processes that I needed to go through in order for me to get documentation in South Africa. So in case you guys did not know, this is how it works. These are the processes that foreigners need to go through in order for them to be documented. And just because I have a documentation, like right now I can say that I have permanent residency. Yes, I have a green ID, but still I do not have the privileges of a citizen of South Africa. There are privileges that I will get once I apply for citizenship, which is something that I don't want to do because I still want to be regarded as a Congolese. However, there are my other fellow brothers and sisters that have actually gone ahead and applied for citizenship, which means they get equal rights with people that were born South African and so forth. Yeah. I'm running out of breath. But anyway, yes, I just wanted to explain to my South African brothers and sisters, whoever that is thinking of migrating to South Africa or is currently living in South Africa and they're having these challenges, they don't know the process they need to go through. This is one of them, and it's just a simplified version. And the South African passport is called a travel document. It's not called a passport per se for refugees. It is a travel document that will allow you to go outside of South Africa. However, certain countries do not respect certain countries do not accept that travel documentation. They will so you just need to be very educated on which country will allow you to travel with a travel documentation or travel document. Now let me go quickly to my children. Oh guys, this video will be quite long. Let me now go to my children. I don't know if you guys want me to do a separate video on this, but however, my children, regardless of the fact that they are born in South Africa, they do not have South African citizenship. They are still regarded as foreigners. We still have to go through the same process for my children. However, the what makes it different for my children is that they're at least recognized as, their birth certificate is of South Africa, not the South African birth certificate. Like what we had to do for my daughter is, once she was born in a South African hospital, you have what you call, like, even the birth certificate is a whole A4 paper. We have to take that to the Home Affairs and be like, okay guys, XYZ, and then they'll give us what you call the abridged birth certificate, and then from the abridged birth certificate we now have to apply for the unabridged birth certificate that will allow us to travel outside of the country with her. And then after that, we were not satisfied. Like, we want to make sure that she's up to date with all her documentation. Immediately we had to apply for the permanent resident. So she was a baby, we had to apply for permanent residency for her as well. We got that. Well, she was very lucky. She got hers just before the COVID lockdown. Glory be to God. It only took 4 months. She got a permanent residency. And then once we got that, we were like, this is still not enough. We want to make sure that our daughter is up to date. So we immediately went and went forward and applied for her South African birth certificate. The small one is the A5 birth certificate. That's the one that she currently has. So it was not easy getting that as well. And my son is still in the process of getting his done. Guys, my son's documentation is still being verified. It's a whole for foreigners. It's a whole stage that you need to go through. It's a whole system. And for those who came in South Africa, maybe with a visa, and then they wanted to study, you know, the thing of going back and forth to your home country to get a visa, sometimes because the South African government has made it difficult for people to get a visa nowadays, that it's not just easy for you to say, okay, I'm gonna go out and come back. No, so many people have gone back and then they became stranded back home because they can't get a visa to come back even though they are studying. So some people just decided to get the asylum seeker, at least to allow them to study. And then, like, one of my friends, she has actually gone back home after studying. She was like, I'm done. She went back home and her parents were still back home. So yeah. But guys, I'll do a part 2 on this. If this is something that you're really interested in, you want to hear more, you have questions, please put them in the comment section. I will answer them in my part 2. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.